Okay, so sorry for the hiatus. We switched broadcasters. We're now this our lovely Nathaniel, who just promoted to A1. So congratulations again to him. And we're just jumping into this A1 game. So this is a very pivotal game for all the players involved in this table,
リーチ
besides maybe Jonathan. But playing mahjong with people is always fun, so maybe it's pivotal for him in that way.
リーチ
Uh, So we've already got two Richis coming out. Looks like Bichen is waiting on a 2 and 5 pin for Richie Pinfu, and it looks like
でも
Jonathan is waiting on. Well, he was waiting on 5-8 mon for also Richie Pinfu Tanyao, and Bichen managed to pull in that win and jumps into first with a nice sumo. So the dealer
ポン
is now Bichen, and hand looks alright. Hopefully he can do something about the Pintu shapes, but um, yeah, he'll also have to decide which one is his. Well, I was gonna say he'll have to decide which tile is gonna be his head, but he just drew that 3 mon, which kind of helps things out.
ポン
It looks like Oliver is already called, and he's maybe going for Honitsu. It's possible, but he's keeping around the 2 and 4 pin to potentially well,
ポン
now he's cutting it, so I guess he sold out for Honitsu.
Unfortunately,
Uh
the Hatsu are mochi mochi with Kaz across the table.
yeah, that's unfortunate. Uh, Speaking of Kaz, he's Ishanten, but it seems like he'll be stuck waiting. Well, we have to hope that someone drops a 7 mon, which is Dora, so I don't think anyone's gonna drop it willy nilly. And as for Jonathan, uh, he's Ishanten. He's got quite a few tiles that he can accept. Well, there's one right there.
リーチ
So he goes for the Sam Enchan 369 pin for Richie Pinfu. Oh, Oliver actually dodged that. I thought he would deal it right away.
スモ
But but it's the sumo. No Ura, but so not quite enough to get above 30k, and brings Kaz down to 29.9, just like drags them like barely beneath it.
Wow. Yeah, it's
Boom.
a still a very heated
Boom.
battle. It's anyone's game still. Oliver can make
Oh,
a.
is this is this a toy rush?
I think so. Um, I would say that's very optimistic considering one of the pairs is a 5 pin and the other pair is a 4 so. But yeah, well, let's see if let's hope that pans out for him. Oh, hmm.
I guess
As
could
for
also switch into a Chinitsu, but that'd be a lot of work.
yeah, for sure. I
ポ
mean,
ン
it's
ポン
just I'm not sure if he can. I mean, look, Jonathan's already tenpai for Hatsunomi, winning on the 2 and 5
リーチ
pin.
And is probably going
Oh
to get
my
it
ポ
right
ン
now. And Beachin entered Tempai and had to discard the 5 pin to keep it, and gives Jonathan the 1,000 he needs to get above 30k.
That was so quick we didn't even get to review the hands at the table. But we're now moving into South 2. Jonathan is the dealer, and he's currently second. For now, he'll maybe Sanshoku, but that's still far for 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku. But it's got some decent shapes. Uh, as for Kaz, I think, would you consider Hmm. I was gonna ask if you were going to consider Honitsu, but I guess for now, just discard the honor tiles and try to see
Yeah.
where the tiles lead you.
Well, the three mon is Dora, and yeah. So since with the three mon being Dora, and with the an outside chance at a 3/4/5 Sanshoku, I would not go for Honitsu here. Despite being someone who mostly plays Sanma, I go for Honitsu much less than other people. Like I would never see Honitsu in
リーチ
this hand.
Right. And
Oh,
also potential Ipeko, but oh my gosh, Beechin's already Tenpai, waiting on just a 7 pin. Oh, 7 so, my apologies.
so Tanyao Dora 1 with a Riichi for Beachin. That's a pretty good hand.
Yeah.
And it's not like anybody has a ton of information about what the weight could be.
Yeah, those are always the scariest kind of Richis to deal with. You don't know what's safe and what's not.
Oliver is still Ishanten.
リーチ
There's the Riichi, the chase, waiting on the 7 mon, which is Genbutsu to Beachin, but 2 have already been discarded. Which means there are 2
Chi.
left in the wall, as nobody has one currently, and now we have the Chi from Jonathan going for, it looks like, perhaps an open 1-2-3 Sanshoku. We'll have to end up on a pair weight on that 7, so we'll otherwise deal in.
Yeah, that's scary. Uh, oh, I guess he decided against it. Maybe just hoping to keep K10 at this point, but
ドン
that's not gonna happen because of the differences now.
No Ura for Beachin, but Beachin getting a nice lead here. This is exactly what Beachin needed. Beachin is currently in that first demotion spot in 12th place. Only needs 1 point to get above Dustin, who is done with his games and cannot defend himself. So getting a nice first in the first Hanchan would be the best way to start for them for sure.
Definitely, and maybe after the game we can talk more about the standings, in more detail for sure. Hopefully people look forward to that. But as of right now, it's Kaz who's the dealer. Just 100 points shy of 30k, and probably going for a quick Tanyao hand. He could accept the door too if he draws a 4 mon or the 6 mon, which is the door itself. It looks like Beechen hasn't quite sold out for uh, Honitsu, but he's got some great Pinzu shapes, and maybe he can draw. He also has 2 Dora right there, so of course he's not going to go for Honitsu. Oliver, he's probably going for Honitsu. I mean, he's got a pair of his seat wind. He's got a pair of the round wind. He's going for it for sure. Meanwhile, Jonathan, tons of pairs.
Ishanten for Toy.
Yeah.
チ
And double Ishanten for Toy.
チ
Ooh, Kaz really thinking about calling this, and does. This is a call that I make frequently when you're like in the middle of the second row and you have Toy and your dealer and you want to hold on to your dealership and someone discards the Tanyao end of your scariest Rionman. It's like, okay, you know what? I'll take this, cement in the Tanyao, I'll beat Ishanten, and I can try and keep a
Riichi.
grip on this dealership. Although we do have a Riichi now from Beachin. Seems to have the flow, waiting on the 4-so and the 7-so. This is Riichi Nomi. No, Riichi Dora 2. The 6 mon is the Dora, and that's the pair. So Riichi Dora 2 is fantastic.
Yeah.
No
And
Sumo, no Tatsumo, I mean.
he's still got 4 tiles left in the wall. That 4th so is probably not coming out from Jonathan, given it's secured in his hand. it also goes well into Kaz's hand. We'll see if Beachin can draw the remaining outs. Meanwhile, it looks like Oliver drew into Tenpai, also waiting on that 7-so.
つも
And there's the 7. There was 2 left in the wall, and Beeching got it. That's going to be a Mongon. Now, Beechin is the only person above 30k. If you're Kaz here, as we said, Jonathan is a sub. So, positional plays, will still probably make positional plays, just kind of in good faith. But, if you're Kaz here, you cannot be below 30k. I mean, you'll have time to make it up, but precious little. You need a positive, whatever you can get. And Oliver
sure.
desperately needs to get out of last.
Yeah, I'm looking at Oliver's hand. Well, I guess we should start from the dealer. Pretty great high pie, can possibly go for 22.
ポン
He's going to call that tune for sure. And yeah, things are looking pretty good for Beechin, who's sitting comfortably in first. Meanwhile, Oliver's hand, I'm trying to rack my brain to think of what he can do to shoot up to 30k, but he have to basically hope and get lucky with Ura. Maybe hope Beechin gets cocky and does a
Each.
couple cons, but it looks very unlikely.
With
Meanwhile,
Jonathan calling Ricci, you're in trouble. Now, that weight is just the 7-mon, but Beechin could so easily deal into that. I mean, if you're Beechin here, do you consider Sashikomi?
I would. I mean, it's just Ricci know me, but he doesn't know that. But why not? You're in the lead. You can just end things safely, and but the thing is, like, I'm not good enough to read that he needs a 7-mon. I'll just start
Each.
discarding random tiles and hope that he deals in. Oh, so he did get Oliver did get into Tenpai for Ricci Pinfu Tanyao. He has to
And
hope he gets
Sanshoku on the 3-mon. So if Oliver sumos on the 3-mon, that would be Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyao, Sanshoku. All right, no Dora. All right, so would need, what have I said? Ricci, Tanyao, Pinfu, Sanshoku, Sumo. And so then if Oliver's able to hit Dora 2, that's all they need. So Sumo and Dora 2, or Ron and Dora 3. So I'd be keeping a desperate count on the 2-sos if I was Oliver here.
Yeah, but there's only 3. Well, there's 3. There's only one 3-mon in the wall left, so he either accepts the Ron and hope he gets up.
ロン
Oh no.
Oh, and unfortunately pulls in one of those very few 7-mon that deal into Jonathan, and that's enough to get Jonathan above 30,000. So this is a pretty unfortunate result for both Kaz and Oliver. Beechin, though, with that plus 35.8, is going to leap out of the demotion zone for now with 3 Hanchan left to play. Is by no means safe, but 26.1 is a very nice place to be after that first game. Jonathan with the plus 6 just has a nice result to feel happy about. Kaz with that minus 9.1, that was a massive hit. I mean, that's a tiny third, all things considered, but now you're sitting at minus 88 that you have to make up in 3 Hanchan. That's a lot of positive you're going to be pushing. I mean, you're really thinking you need 2 firsts and a second minimum. And then Oliver, of course, taking that minus 32 hit. I mean, that is tragic. That pulls you below Lucas. That puts you in 13th. So now you have to get 22 points. Not 22. That's not right. 28? Yeah, that's it. 28 points to surpass Dustin. And 28's a lot more doable than what Kaz has to make up. But still, the pressure of being forced to meet a certain point outcome makes the normally so stress-free and easy game of Mahjong that much tougher.
I question you saying Mahjong is normally relaxed and not stressful. It's every game of Mahjong I play is stressful.
Well, we all know that I am just the absolute picture of serenity when it comes to Mahjong. I never tilt. I never stress out about the game.
Yeah, you're aligned. We all know that. It's well known. Uh, but yeah, I guess at this point, Kaz needs to get 3 firsts or at least 2 firsts and a good second to climb out. Uh, Oliver not quite as bad, maybe 1 first and some good results, like non-negative results, and he should be good. But Beechen's sitting pretty comfortably in comparison to the other two.
Although again, one last is enough to pull Beechin out of that. So, you cannot rest on your laurels in A1. I mean, it's really interesting, and this is something that's been pointed out before, I believe. But if we look at the expected values here, right, the expected values for the top 1 to 4 people in all the other leagues, it's usually like 750 is somewhere around fourth usually, and you'll see the top 1 or 2 people having an EV of like 1,900, something like that. But in A1, I mean, the EVs are so tight. I mean, you have a 560 for Korak in 10th and a 602 for you in first. Now, Eric and Steve have the 2 highest expected values in the league with 760 and 723. Not the league, in the division. But I mean, in all the other divisions, basically, that wouldn't even put them in promotion range. As far if we were just looking at the EVs anyway. So it's very interesting with A1 being that higher competition that everything's a lot more tight. Something else I'd like to point out is the least number of last places, again, is Eric and Steve, who both have 2. And after that, there's several people who have 4 last places. So if this is much more like a pure 2.5 average placement mahjong in A1, and you're really just trying to make sure that your seconds and your firsts are as positive as possible, and your thirds and fourths are as least negative as possible. Does look like our game's going to start back any second here now. Our first dealer will be Jonathan, and then followed by Kaz, and then Oliver is going to be our first Toyman, and our first Kami is Beechin. And Jonathan starting off by discarding the Chun here. The Dora is the 6 Mon, which can be incorporated in the hand. Jonathan has beautiful shapes in both the Monzu and the Pinzu, so as long as a 5th block is found, this hand can progress nicely. Kaz on the right already has an Anko of the 8 Mon, although according to what happens with the Tuso, that 7 Mon might end up adjoining to the 8 Mon to become a pair. The Pinzu is kind of awkward with all the odd shapes, but that's fine, can still get Pinfu. Across the way, Oliver has very nice Pinzu shapes and Sozu shapes and a little pair hanging out in the Monzu of Dora. So might even just start opening this for Tanyao to try and make the hand as quick as possible. We'll see how Oliver decides to play it. And then Beechin on the left has a couple of pairs, and this is probably pretty easily the worst hand. I mean, you've got the pair of Haku, though, so if you want to speed up to catch up to everybody else, you very much can. 4 pairs, so also 2 Shanten for Chitoy. And while we've been away, Jonathan pulled in a pair of the double E, so now has 5 beautiful blocks.
Yeah, he's sitting pretty well. We'll just have to see if he can get that third tone or someone discards it, and you'll. What would you cut if you were him?
What would I cut if I'm sorry, I zoned out for like 2 seconds. If I was
No
Jonathan?
worries. Yes, if you're Jonathan and after someone discards a tone.
After someone discards a tone, I am going to discard the 2 Mon.
Yeah, I think taking the widest sea shanten is probably the best.
Yeah, I mean, especially with I definitely want to make sure I can continue accepting the Dora 6 Mon. And with the person on my left having already discarded one of the 8 Mon, I know that they're probably not going to keep another one should they draw it again. So the chances of being able to cheat it are pretty nice. That was an entry to Beechin now discarding the pair of 9 Peen, having completed the 1-2-3 Monzu shape. Looks like just going to go for a normal hand instead of the Chitoy.
I've been burned by Chitoy before, so I understand. It's a frustrating Yaku to work with.
Boom.
Oh, he's going to open for sure. And just like you said, he's opening up and now speeding things along.
Yeah, is now Ishanten. It's not quite perfect. I like to think of this as a pseudo perfect Deshanten. Like the whole idea of perfect Deshanten is that you end up on a Rionman weight no matter how you get to Tenpai. But if we're just thinking about how efficiency works, this is the same sort of shape. You have a Rionman, you have a pair, and then you have something that is both a sequence shape and a pair shape at the same time with the 466 beam. Kaz has
For-
entered Tenpai waiting on the 4 peen, but did not call Ricci.
Ooh, I wonder.
Sanshoku Tanyao.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess he's really greeting for value, which he needs. But
Is not calling Ricci greeting for value?
I guess he's trying to balance value and win rate. And I guess if I were him, I would maybe discard the 5 pin and declare Ricci for the better weights. But I don't know. It's something hard to quantify on the table if you're not like, good at making those EV plays like I am, because I'm not good at those at all. Oh, but
Oliver Tenpai waiting on the 6 peen. The 3 peen is also a winning
yeah,
tile, but not a Yaku. The 6 peen give Itsu.
Itsu Dora 2.
That's not a 6 pin. I got really excited for a second.
Yeah. Oh, just selling for Kaiten now.
Does the 7 peen look dangerous to Jonathan? I don't know that I would have really minded the 17 draw, but I guess I wasn't looking close enough at Jonathan's whole discards to see how scary that 17 looked.
Yeah, maybe he just because like maybe he just assumed the 1 pin would be safer. Is why. But Kaz starting off with a great high pie. Wow. Oh my gosh. Cutting the 4 pin? Yeah. Meanwhile, Oliver getting Anko of the Hatsu, that's also really great. Um oh. Do you think Kaz is potentially shifting towards Sananko? Oh no. Or Toitoi, I guess, now since he called.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you accept the 2 so or the 5 so if it
Mhm.
yeah, I mean you're dealer. So,
Yeah.
a bunch of Tuhan hands is just as good as one massive hand. But there you
Ooh.
go. Yeah, I think you have to discard the Forso here. This is Toy Toy,
Mhm.
Haku, Chun. At the very least, that's a Mangon. If you sumo, you'll get a Hanuman because you also get Sananko.
Yeah,
So
that's
Mangon,
great.
Ron, Hanuman, sumo.
Okay, and none of his tiles have been discarded. They're all on the wall. Meanwhile, B Chen still going for that Richinomi, potentially Pinfu if he can get rid of one of those heads.
Well, what about
Meanwhile,
452 Sanshoku?
oh yeah, that's also a possibility. Oh my
Ah!
god,
The 6 peen is the new Dora, which benefits literally everyone at the table except for Kaz. Everyone
he's a
has and is integrating one currently.
good old Kaz helping out everyone else at the table besides himself.
It's, you know what? It's just really nice to be generous, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of the things we try to teach in school, and not enough people at the Mahjong table really put that on display.
No, instead they DM you and do slow rolls instead.
We have the Sam Minchan wait for Oliver now, waiting on 147 peen for Hatsu Dora 1,
Boom.
plus a Ricci, of course. Ricci, Hatsu, Dora 1. And now Beechin calling the Wests, now waiting on the 4 peen and 7 peen. The 4 peen would be. Oh, but that 3 so is going to deal into the Mangon. For the 12
All hail Sanso.
hit. Yeah, did you know that every time you call Ron with a Sanso for a Toy Toy hand, someone will deliver a fish to you within 48 hours?
Wow, I need to start doing that more often. I need to get more fish into my diet.
Into your diet? I was thinking as a pet, not as
Oh, whoops.
Are you hungry, Jeremy?
Maybe.
If you need to
Oh
touch out
no,
for a second to eat something, that's okay.
that's literally playing mahjong to eat.
Oh man, Kaz getting the early Chun pawn here. Can't quite integrate the Dora 1 Mon, but, well, now Super can't integrate it with that 3 Mon discard, is Ishanten currently.
Hmm. Meanwhile, Oliver, uh, maybe definitely pushing for a Honitsu at this point. Just discarding 2, 5 Mon, 4 Mon, 4 so. Uh, Meanwhile, looks like Beechen's probably going for Ton Nomi, which is fine. Everyone's fighting for second at the moment since Beechen causes such a huge lead. And Jonathan's hand. Potential 1-2-3 Sanchoku.
9 So
Wrong.
Taki for Kaz wins off of Oliver. So Chunomi plus 2 Honba. And we are entering
Wow.
the third repeat. Oh god, and this is such a beautiful hand.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty good. Hopefully, you can draw around the Dora and make a sequence, or maybe even pair up. Oh, don't go for Cheetoy, please don't go for Cheetoy.
Please don't go for Cheetoy.
Yes. uh, Oliver, yeah, he's in a quiet deficit already, and drawing only each 2. I guess he's hoping. Yeah, his hands. He has to hope to draw that Sanso that caused him so much pain earlier, and
3 of the Dora 7 Mon, though.
that's some value. I wonder if he'll try to go for Tanya Nomi, but he's got so many one. He's got the 1-2 so and the 1-2 Mon. Will be a little tough. Meanwhile,
Can we come back to Kaz's hand for a second? I want to ask you a question.
yeah.
So Kaz drew the 5 peen into that Nakabukure 2-3-3-4 peen shape, and could have gotten down to 5 blocks, discarding the Dora 7 Mon, and been two Shanten at Erno. Yeah, that would have been two Shanten at that point. Do you tend to toss away the pair of 1 Mon or keep the Dora around like Kaz did here?
I sometimes keep. I sometimes it really depends on how I'm feeling, but I think tossing the ones was fine. Tossing the door would be fine, but
Wrong.
oh my gosh,
Is going to deal into the Dama 1-2-3 Sanshoku. Sanshoku Dora 3 for Oliver. That's huge. Oliver's
That's
still in last, but has closed this gap for everyone considerably.
yeah, that was incredible. Drew the tiles he needed, and we're now on to East 3. Oliver's hand. Oh, pretty good. Just drew the Dora. We'll see how that hand progresses. Needs to fill in those Pinto shapes, but he's doing a great job filling in the shapes for all the other suits for now. Meanwhile, Beechen, yep, not the worst. Lots of pairs already, 3 pairs. We'll see if he wants to go for Chitoy. He should. And Jonathan, potential Itsu for Montu in his hand. You just have to hopefully either make an encore of the 1 so or the 7 pin, or maybe go for a sequence. Meanwhile, it looks like Kaz got only. Oh, he has a Dora. I was going to say Tanya Nomi, but he has a Dora. We'll see how that hand progresses. He's probably going to cut that east, right? No. Okay.
Holding on
So-
to it for now.
Mm-hmm. So he's really hoping to draw that 7 Mon so he can accept the Dora and maybe get into 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku, but that'll require some very specific draws.
Yeah, it looks like Oliver has gotten into Ishanten here, although it's a guaranteed bad weight as things currently stand. Does have a door though, so would probably accept it,
Yeah.
especially with the overall deficit that Oliver is currently dealing with. Oliver needs points. Katagiri on the Tuso. Oh, and now we have Tenpai for Beachhead. We have seen so many Damas today. Waiting on the Forso here. I mean, this is... There's no Yaku.
Beach.
No, he should. Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
Oliver now calling Ricci, waiting on the 8-so. This is Ricci Dora 1.
Two left in the wall.
Why do you think Beachin...
Chi.
Is it because the 1-so is almost dead?
I guess so. Yeah, the 1-so is almost dead. There's a 4-so, but I mean that's still 4 potential outs. Yeah, I would declare Ricci.
I mean, it's East 3. You might be concerned about the fact that calling Ricci puts you into third actively, but I mean, it's still East 3. You're not going to stay tied for Jonathan for over 5 hands.
Right.
Nathaniel from the broadcast booth has made a good point that the Dora is currently invisible to Beachin. The only one that we see on the table is the one that Kaz has cheed.
That is a good point.
Chi.
Okay, he's changed his weight. And no, he's not even Tenpai anymore. Oh, he got back into Tenpai?
Yeah, this is Tenpai, but you have to discard the Dora. Uh-oh. Well, Jonathan can discard the 6-so. That's fine. The 6-so doesn't deal it. The 8-so does, though. Discards a 7-peen instead. That also works. So Jonathan able to maintain Tenpai and get back to 30,000 thanks to the Tenpai payments.
Still anyone's game at this point. Maybe someone can score big and knock Kaz off his throne. But as for now, oh my god, he just drew that second Dora. So now it's a double tone. And, oh my god. He's going come on.
5-so is the new Dora, which one of is in Oliver's hand, although it's not locked there yet.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be pretty good for Oliver so far. Oh, wow. And let's look at Beachin's hand. Yeah, it looks like probably Tanya Nomi. Maybe he can get into Ricci and profit off the con.
Does have one of the 5-so Dora.
Right. So right. So it wouldn't be Tanya Nomi. Yeah, let's hang on to the West for safety for now. Meanwhile, Jonathan. That 6-so is a little awkward. He doesn't want to let go of it because that will ruin his Dora acceptance of the 5-so. So he's kind of just stuck, hoping for something. Ooh, is he
keeping the 5-peen and pushing Toy here, or possible Chi-Toy?
Maybe. Interesting move for sure. Meanwhile, Kaz.
Dora Tonki. Double tone. Dora 5 is the hand that Oliver currently has right now, so that is a dealer Hanuman.
Yeah, she's gonna go for it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, Dora 5 and well, this is Dora 3. So I guess that does devalue your hand because you lose 2 Han by dropping that 5-so, but that's fine. 7 mon 8 mon's a pretty stellar weight. Do we see another con? I mean, I know it would ruin that 6-peen and also Tenpai, but like, I don't care. It's not Tenpai. This is Ishan 10.
Yeah.
Man, it's not gonna keep it. The 678 Sanshoku along with Pinfu would just be absolutely brilliant for Beachin here.
So I just keep counting just to make sure. There's only 1 7 mon left and 1 8 mon left for Oliver, but it looks like
there it is! It's gonna come out of Beachin's hand.
Oh no!
That's gonna be a dealer Mongon. straight out of Beach End. And so now Oliver is going to creep into first place by just over 2,000 points.
Incredible. He was so down back in East 2, and now he's climbed up to first place. And this high buy is pretty nuts, too.
Home.
Already
going-
taking that West Pole natural. I mean, this
Home.
this is a much more reasonable Toy Dash, even though you only have the four pairs so far. I mean, you expect you can probably get the double East.
Yeah, we'll see if he'll stick with the Toy Dash or if... Oh my gosh. Yeah, maybe Toy, maybe Honitsu. It really depends on what he draws here. Meanwhile, Bichen. He's got some pretty good shapes for the Pinsu aside from the 1-2 Pinsu. Other than that, it's not too bad. Hopefully he fills in some shapes. Meanwhile, Jonathan's already called. He has a Dora, but other than that, I don't think he can quite. I mean, things could change
Gee.
drastically with a few good draws, and that's a good call. But he's Jonathan already. Not bad.
1.
Oh, but the one that we didn't even get to yet is Kaz hits Tenpai already for Ricci, Pinfu, Ipeko, Dora.
And Tanyao.
And Tanya. Jesus, that's a lot of points.
So on a sumo, that would be a guaranteed Hanuman. And unfortunately for Oliver, unless he's able to pull
Home.
in a 1-mon or 3-mon, that 2-mon is not going to continue fitting into the hand.
I think he's greeting for Honitsu, so for now, he's safe.
Right? So now we can see a double roll on a 2-mon if it came out of somewhere. It'd be kind of weird.
Wrong.
Oh,
no.
discard the 3-mon! So dealing into the Mongon, no Ura, thankfully, so
Mhm.
was able to stay above 30k, but only barely. Would you have taken the 1-4 Arianman there, or would you have discarded the 3-mon and kept the 1-mon, 2-mon Champon?
Oh, I would have died for sure. I can't blame Oliver for choosing the better way. It's just unfortunate. So yeah. Moving on to the East 4 though. But what would you have done actually? Would you have kept the weight as well? Gone for the better weight?
I would have wanted to see exactly what Monzu were in the discard. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past me to discard the 1-mon and keep the horrible 2-mon hell Tonki weight. Just because the 1-mon's one chance. Personally. Because I'm, like that. Eric
Yeah.
actually pointing out in the chat that dropping the 7-mon is also kind of viable.
リーチ
Because then you're waiting on the Dora 3-mon to complete, the second 1, 2, 3 sequence. You do have Ricci for Beach in here.
Gee.
This is Ricci, Pinfu, possible Tanyao on either the 3-so or the 6-so. The 9-so would just be Ricci, Pinfu. So we've got the San Minchan weight. A very, very nice weight for Beach in.
Pretty good. I don't think anyone else can push under these circumstances, but looks like they are.
I mean, it's once again one of those times where it's like, well, what is safe? Not much.
Might as well go for it under those if you don't know what's good or not.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan now discarding safest tile in hand a couple of times. So Jonathan's got a pretty nice full fold.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver still seems to be dancing around a little bit. Discarded a useful tile with that 2-peen, but has not picked the hand apart.
Yeah, good. Some good old Mawashi. The most. I was gonna try and relate it to a dance, as a callback to what you were saying during one of your cast was one of my games where we just danced around each other and no one won the game, no one won the round. But yeah. Oh, he's now Fuichi and Tenpai.
Yeah, Oliver has done a very good job with the dancing. Very nimble feet for Oliver.
I wonder what size shoes he wears.
Do you think he's on point? Oh, there's a sumo for Beachin.
Wow.
No Ura, but 1,300 all is a perfectly fine result. It's a good way to get yourself started. You went from being the only person under 30k to dragging everybody except for Kaz underneath with you.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. But he's doing pretty good. Well, no, he's not doing good right now, but it's a start. Meanwhile, his high pie, it's getting there. He could go for Chi Toy. He could get maybe a Ipeiko Pinfu kind of hand, but we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Jonathan, yeah, pretty good shapes. He has Adora already. Wow, drawing that 8-mon helps. Maybe he'll confirm Tanyo. We'll have to see. Maybe he cuts one of the heads. Yeah. Okay. And what do you think of Kaz's hand?
I mean, it's okay. That 7-9 so is kind of infuriating, and the 8 is hanging off awkwardly, but it's all right. Again, like I would three Shanten at the end of the first row, albeit with good shapes, can still be really slow when you have an open on your right and a Ricci on your left. And that Ricci from Jonathan is Ricci Dora 1 waiting on the 4-so and the 7-so.
Yeah, and even though it looks to him the weight's pretty good, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 2 left in the wall.
Oh,
Granted,
wow.
the 7-so in Kaz's hand is not secured at all. It's like floating in the wind. It can come out anytime if he pushes. Meanwhile, Oliver took apart his hand. It was just Tenpai for Chun Nomi was waiting on the 8th pin, but now it's completely dead.
Yeah, unwilling to push the 6-mon, which is next to Dora, into that Ricci. Beachin as well, trying to dance around this. I think Mawashi is like a ballet. I think that's what I've decided for myself.
That makes sense.
Ooh, Kaz throwing the 3-so. Is the 3-so pretty... Let's see. How many 4-so can Kaz see? I guess it's one chance. And we have the Ricci now from Beachin waiting on the 4-mon. That is bold. There's one gone as the Dora indicator tile. And this is Ricci Dora 1. Would you have taken this Ricci? Oliver still can't quite get there. Not able to pull in enough safe-looking tiles to reach Tenpai once again. So it's going to fall a little bit further underneath 30k. Jonathan's going to get a little bit closer. Beachin closing the gap. Now, only about 8,000 points behind third place. And going into this next dealership has a pair of the Hatsu and 2 of the Dora 5-mon. So this hand looking really good now. I mean, you probably start opening Achizuke as soon as you can and just assume you'll pick up the Hatsu later. On the right, Jonathan has the Chun and every single odd tile in the entire wall. So, not great. Across the table, Kaz has also 2 Dora in hand. Has committed to the Tanyao already, which makes sense. Just going to have to get rid of that 9-pin and eventually that south. But can obviously do that. Calling is going to speed that hand up considerably. On the left, Oliver has a lot of just hanging cruft that is going to have to improve real quick to catch up with everyone else. I mean, Jonathan actually going out to Duque here, calling that 789
Boom.
ping, hoping for the tune, which he gets. Beechin has not been able to call yet. I don't think the opportunity is even arose. That 5-so is nice, though. I wonder.
Boom.
All right, cuts the 2-so, which then Kaz is able to call, and enter Tenpai waiting on the 3-peen and the 6-peen. And that is Tanyao Dora 2, so that's a pretty stellar 3-Han hand.
Pretty great.
Ishanten for Beechin now. Shifting a little bit towards Tanyao. Now perfect Ishanten for Tanyao. Well, I guess
Oh.
not all for Tanyao. That 6-peen is going to deal in first. So Kaz extending that lead. And if you're Kaz, you definitely want to be the only person over 30k. I mean, that extra 5,000 points you get from the 20 UMA as opposed to the 15 UMA are pretty massive in these sorts of positional play situations at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's going great for him in this game. And right now, Jonathan is dealer. Either taking a long time to decide what to discard, or maybe got caught daydreaming on stream. But yeah, his hand looks okay.
Or it might be a connection issue.
Maybe that's probably a bit more probable. So Jonathan, it's got some stuff. Maybe he can pair up the non or the tune, or go for just a what? Okay, Beechin's already Tenpai, and Dama for 4/7
Yeah.
infield. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, is waiting for the 6-mon. I mean, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Wants the Itsu, but but being only 5,000 points behind third place, I probably would have just slammed the button. An early 2-sided Ricci, I don't really want to miss out on points. If you go Dama,
Okay.
I think you have to pass, and that is what Beechin did.
Good, yeah. Maybe he declares Ricci now? No. Yeah, all the others. Okay, so Jonathan can compete. He's Tenpai as well. But it looks like everyone else is just too far behind. Unless they do some ballet dancing.
I mean, it's going to be hard to get value. Whenever the Dora is a terminal tile, like the 1-so that it is here, that just always makes it feel like terminals and guess wins are just such a pain to try and figure out. Yeah, it does now take that 1,000 point Pinfu, but I mean, that just seems like such little gain.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Meanwhile, we're moving into South 2. 4 pairs already. Well, let's see if Kaz goes for no, he doesn't. Thank goodness.
Not Chitoy.
No Chitoy. Meanwhile, Ash has a pair of the Chun and Adora. So maybe you go for a quick hand and try to figure out what your head is going to be. It was originally probably going to be the 2. Oh my god. We've seen so many cons tonight, I think.
So many close cons.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
So
go ahead.
Like, I was going to say, like, Jonathan's hand's great. Ricci, Dora 2, or Dora 3.
Now.
Yeah, and potential for more. Great weight too. Well, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Not as great as I originally thought. There's only 2 left in the wall, but we'll see what happens.
It looks great to Jonathan.
Yeah.
At the very least. And that was a really great couple of draws from Kaz as they avoided the deal in there, drew in the 6-peen next to the deal in 5-peen. You know, it's kind of an unfortunate Ryanman because obviously the 7-peen is dead. But we do see Kaz discarding just the safe 6-mon here. I wonder whether we're just kind of seeing a safety play.
I don't blame him. He is sitting first, but he still needs a lot of points.
That would be Tenpai is considering this cheat
7
and takes it. Is going to discard the 8 so and taking that 4-peen, 7-peen Tenpai. Of course, the 7-peen has been conned, so you can't win on that. And we see 3 of the 4-peen across the table.
Yeah. Oh, does he
Hmm.
want to deal in?
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's discarding the 3 so.
Yeah, Kaz is in a.
1
The only way you can win is if, for some reason, Beachin discards the Dora, which he could potentially do here.
ロン
Oh, but he just elects to discard that instead.
Yeah, Beechin took the Ontonsu 8, which I'm pretty sure that's the right one. I'm pretty sure I'm calling that
Right.
right. The 4-peen, 7-peen Tumon weight over there was really nice. Hey, is this Kokoshi? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's not Kokoshi.
It's
Oh
just
God,
disappointment.
is this Suanko?
Oh
Everything
my.
all over the place. I mean, this is Ishan 10 is what it is.
The double
What's this
Ricci.
Senpai? Wait, no, that was a double Ricci.
質問
I didn't even
Oh
see.
my.
It was a wait. It's I guess it's always Sumagiri double Ricci if you're dealer, huh? So dealer Daburi and the sumo on turn 3. Wow, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. It's still a heated battle for first and second. Beachin unfortunately has to work some magic this round and the next round. Just keep.
Oh yeah. A big last was the last thing Beechen needed. This is what we were saying. You can't rest on your laurels. You're in a good spot at plus 26.1, but a last will drag you right back down into the thick of things.
Mm-hmm. And Oliver's hand, it's okay, but he needs a lot of filling to do. Maybe the tiles will, act like a money tree or something and give him what he needs.
That was a very
Meanwhile,
polite way of saying Oliver's hand is garbage.
yeah. Meanwhile, Beechan's hand is IC789 Sanchoku potential, but other than that, he'll have to figure out what his head is. Jonathan's hand. I wonder if he's considered going for Honitsu. The possibility, no, Chinitsu, my apologies. The possibility is there. I guess he'll have to decide at one point. Oh.
Does have 4 Chinitsu blocks, although this is now Ishan 10 for just a normal hand.
Yeah, well, I guess why not go for the quick and fast hand. Meanwhile, Kaz, that's Ishan 10, I believe, pretty close, but not quite there.
The longer Oliver holds on to this north, the more dangerous it's going to be. I mean, if you're Beechin, your dream is to get your 789 Sanshoku and then wait on Pei Doratanki.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually see we even see kind of this being forced with that 5-mon discard, and there goes the Dora. I probably would have discarded the Haku there. I mean, Beechin does need a bunch of points, so I understand keeping the guaranteed Sanshoku.
For sure.
Jonathan is Ishan 10 across the table.
Yeah, pretty wide Tenpai acceptance rate, it looks like. You might even just call to get into Tenpai.
And Ishan 10 for Kaz as well. If you're Kaz and you draw, say, what am I thinking? The 5-mon. If you're Kaz and you draw the 5-mon, do you call Kaz?
本
No,
Home.
I'm ready first. I wouldn't do it. If I was like that last, though, for sure.
Oh, wow. And now we have a succession of calls. Oliver now waiting on the
Gee.
5-so. Jonathan waiting, Nobiton wait on the 5-mon, 8-mon, and Beechin, Peitanki.
On that
How-
Hellweight Peitanki. It's coming
No.
out!
Oh, God! Oh, I didn't even notice it was a Hellweight. You're right! Absolutely brilliant. Pei Tonki, best weight in the game, in my opinion.
I love it. Yeah, I believe I wrote it as my favorite tile. If in our introduction to the server, if someone was to hold me at gunpoint and ask,
ポン
and it's for because of moments like that.
You better believe I'm
Um.
putting you at gunpoint right now. Hold on. You
Oh
commentate
no.
while I look up your introduction.
Okay. Meanwhile, we're in all last. Chen has to really make things work here.
ポン
His hand isn't bad, but sheesh, if I were him and seeing Kaz call that, I would be discouraged. Meanwhile, Jonathan, he's got a lot of pins going on there, but his hand, he's got Dora too, but his hand is needs some work. Meanwhile, Kaz is actually not Tenpai yet. He's Ishanten. If he draws the 2-so or 3 and 6 or 6 mon or even the 5-so, he'll be in it.
Or
But
the
it's
5
not,
mon.
or the 5 mon. Meanwhile, Oliver. Well, he's Ishanten. If he can draw basically any. Well, they need to draw
Boom.
either the 2 pin, 4 pin, 6 pin, or 9 pin, I believe. Oh, but
4-so 8
Jonathan.
pin weight for Jonathan. 8 pin is
Mhm.
Dora.
Let's see. There's only one 4-so left in the wall. Oh, and Kaz just entered Tenpai as well, waiting on 3 and 6 mod.
You boy. All right. Bichen's
Okay.
Ishanten, but a scary Ishanten. Luckily, the 3-4-5 Sanshoku is making the 4 mon look like the better discard than the 3 mon.
Mm-hmm.
There's still 4, 3, and 6 mon left in the wall for Kaz. Four peen is the weight for Oliver. No
Goes
Yaku.
Dama.
Dong.
Oh, the 6 mon comes out. And yeah, it didn't fit into the hand. So that's just going to be a 1,000-point deal in, and Beachin, that's going to rock Beachin. That negative 32.3 is going to bring Beachin into 13th, into 11th place. So just not 11th. That's not right. 10th. So just barely outside the demotion zone, and all of a sudden everybody is that much closer. Kaz with the 32.2 did exactly what they needed to do. At minus 56, you've got 2 Hanchan left. That's doable. You can make that happen. You see your path to victory. You needed 3 firsts or 2 firsts and a good second. You got your first one. Check it off the list. Keep that run going. Oliver with the plus 9.2 also is moving in the right direction. Although you're at minus 27.6, so you really need another, 20 points? Yes. You need another about 20 points, a little bit less. So, 2 more seconds is probably enough, or a first and a good third. Jonathan is a sub, so is just going to keep on playing good Mahjong. And that's about it. That's what everybody needs.
Yeah, that was a brutal game. And just like you guys mentioned earlier, Beachan, even though he was sitting at a slightly more comfortable position after the first game of session 6, the final session, just one loss, and now the motion is a very possible thing for him to worry about again. It's actually possible, like if Jonathan wins the next 2 games and everyone else is brought down, that all of them demote.
Oh, wow, you're right. They could all, because if no one else is able to gain quiet enough, and if Beechin is pulled below Lucas, yeah, and that's definitely what Lucas is pulling for. But doesn't it feel? I don't know. You're in this position too now, where you are going to be pulling pretty hardcore, I assume, against Eric and Steve, and Huang for that matter. And I just feel so dirty doing it. Like I was in that in those fifth and sixth sessions, I spent so much of my time cheering for people to lose, and I feel like that's why I ended up losing. It was like all the bad karma from wanting other people to lose for my own benefit. But in this league setting, you kind of have to at some points, and that's certainly what Lucas is going to be doing now.
For sure, yeah, I'm in the similar situation as you mentioned, and yeah, I don't actually really like rooting for people to lose. It's just I already had to do that last season, um, in order to get into A1. I had to wait. I had to pray for Claire, and I believe it was either Loose. I think it was Loose. To get a lot of points at the table with Mister and Aaron, who were my direct competitors to get into A1. And then Claire rejected the Yakuman and hit a Sambai Monsumo, and that in that last game and secured first. And I gotta tell you, I was blasting a lot of Kanye West games songs after that, watching that game. It was a very exciting night for me.
we were at the we were watching the table with Hanamandre at it earlier. I feel like Hanamandre and Kanye West are the two best Tenho handles of everybody in the ARML. Both
For
Richie
sure.
Nomi players, I believe. I mean, Claire obviously, is Richie Nomi. Um, but I do believe Andre is in that too. And now we see everything turning red as everyone is finishing their games. We still have a few more games left in B1, and people are going to be desperately trying to hold on to all those promotion slots that are available. We see with A2 totally set. Those are our 6 promotions. Congratulations to those 6 players once again, especially Minko, Andre, and Nathaniel, all of whom we saw play tonight. B2, B3, also congratulations to Austin and Patrick for their promotions into B2. And good luck to Anya as she awaits the results of Cruz, Blaine, Edwin, and Jason's last 2 games in their playoff, which will determine who of those 4 automatically goes up and who will be the best third between Anya and that other table. Um, do we have a broadcast planned for tomorrow yet?
I'm
Trying
not sure.
I'm trying to look real
Uh,
quick at the schedule. I'm sure there will be more. I think on Sunday we will certainly be covering that A1 match that is happening, and we will also try to catch that B2 B3 playoff. It looks like tomorrow there are games happening, but oh wow, okay. I'm watching people sign up to commentate and and broadcast that right now. So I'll go ahead and say there will be a broadcast tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. The first game will be Eric, Steve, Max, and Huang, which is going to be, I mean, one of the best tables we have seen. Like, that is just going to be so much fun to watch. I am so excited to see that commentated. And then the B1 Snake Round is going to conclude tomorrow with Sylvie, Tristan, Aaron, and Albert playing 1 hour after the A1 matches start. So be sure to follow us on Twitch so that when that stream starts, you hear about it. Also, follow us on Twitter at American Ricci so that whenever new streams are starting, you are the first to know. If you like what you see and you say, hey, I'd like to be a part of the American Ricci Mahjong League, sign-ups for the summer season have concluded, but you can go ahead and sign on for that fall season, which will be coming on in, about 12 weeks. Also note that if you are one of those early people to sign up for the fall season, then you will be one of the first people contacted should a sub be necessary during the summer season, which, as again should be noted, we have needed subs every single season so far. We actually have 1 or 2 permanent subs, to my understanding. So if you want to sign up for that fall season, don't delay. Being on the list early might benefit you, give you a chance to play around without quite so much pressure, and let you get a taste for it, see how much you like it. I know that I have loved it, and I know Nathaniel, our broadcast director, has loved it, especially today with all of the tension getting into promoting into A1. And Jeremy here, we have talked about it a lot, loves it as well. We're all good people. You want to hang out with us, right? Right? It's a lot of fun here. I suggest that you sign up if you can. That website is tiny. I was thinking about the YouTube, AmericanRicci.org. That link is in the chat as well. And lastly, make sure that you follow us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube so that you can see as all of our VODs from Twitch get archived up there. At this point, we have dozens of 3 hour long Mahjong commentary videos. I mean, this is quickly becoming the largest source of English language speaking Mahjong content that exists, which is really really cool. And only more is being dumped there. There's so much you can learn from those videos, both as a person who played in those games getting direct advice, and just as someone watching, just learning more of the terms and more of the strategy. Do you have anything else to add, Jeremy?
Nailed it. Yeah. Go ahead. I would recommend signing up for this league. You can for fall season, since the summer season's signups have closed. Uh, you could be a sub and have, as Tucker said, kind of enjoy things without being so pressured. Or you can test things out and see, oh, do I actually want to stay in this league? And I think mostly uh, on the large majority, people have enjoyed this league, and I've enjoyed it too. Um, and we're growing still. We're still in that growing phase. It's been a blast broadcasting. Hopefully, I didn't meander too much, and kept things a little interesting as we watch some very high level and spirited mahjong play.
All right. And with that, I do hope after this very long streaming session, you demonstrated how hungry you were. Go eat some proper food and not tiles, Jeremy. I wish you the best. And to all of you out there in the chat, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in. I hope you have another beautiful night. And I am Tucker, aka Ennui, signing off for the American Ricci Mahjong League.
Thanks.